Among the characters that Kubo created in Bleach, the Espada stand out the most. They were unique in almost everything. Their special designs, their deep personalities, their incredible powers, and the backstories Kubo revealed for some of them. All these elements made the Espada one of the best things Kubo's imagination ever gave us. Yet despite all this depth, many mysteries about them remain unsolved, still sparking debates among fans today. Some of these questions include the true ranking of the Espada and who the original Vasto Lorde really were, and most importantly, the mystery of how Hollows are created in the first place. Based on what we generally know about Hollows, it might seem simple. They were once humans who became Hollows and then went through different evolutionary stages. Some reached the level of Adiukas and a few evolved into Vasto Lorde. However, with the release of the third databook, it opened other possibilities. It showed us that the origin of Hollows is far more complex than we thought, and there are other ways they can exist, not just the usual path. And one of the best examples of this is Ulquiorra, a Hollow with a very unique and mysterious origin. His backstories, along with key moments from the novels, raises an important question. What is Ulquiorra's true origin? And could there be other Hollows that came into existence in the same extraordinary way? That's why in this video, guys, we'll go back to Ulquiorra's backstory, analyze the novels and other sources, and try to uncover the mystery of his beginnings. And to understand more clearly the question of Hollow origins and how some reached the level of Vasto Lorde, it's best to look at two main cases. Each one shows a different path in Hollow evolution. Xylo is an interesting case because he represents the most natural example of Hollow transformation. According to the novel Spirits Are Forever With You, Xylo had already reached the level of Vasto Lorde. Alive, he was a normal human working as an alchemist. And this explains his personality traits that were later seen in him as an Espada. His scientific curiosity, his obsession with experiments, and his endless drive to understand the body and mind and the perfectness. And after his death, he became a soul, then a Hollow, and from there he went through the evolutionary path, Gillian, then Adiukas, and finally Vasto Lorde. In other words, Xylo's story is the perfect example of what Shaolin once explained about the life cycle of Hollows, that some of them slowly evolve stage by stage until they reach the top. His case not only gives us insight into his characters but also offers a model to understand of other Espada who might have gone through the same journey. And from this we can say that Xylo origins, like many other Hollows, was human at the beginning. And this leads us to wonder, were most of the Espada once human before becoming Hollows, or are there rare exceptions to this rule? And here, guys, we arrive at the center point of this video, the mysterious origin of Ulquiorra. In his backstory revealed in the third databook, Ulquiorra himself said that he was born in a dark pit. Just this single line opens up a flood of questions, because we know that Hollows usually go through a long and complex cycle of evolution. But what stands out is that form, his very first appearance, with two horns growing from his head. And this means one thing, Ulquiorra wasn't a normal Hollow at all, but maybe he was born directly as a Vasto Lorde. Adding to that, and this is another key detail, Ulquiorra mentioned that the first thing he remembers about himself was his white form. And this simple detail challenges everything we thought we knew about the Hollow life cycle. Normally, a Hollow to become a Minos, whether Gillian, Adiukas, or even Vasto Lorde, it has to go through endless devouring. They must consume dozens, maybe hundreds of others to evolve and reach a higher stage. And we have many examples that confirm this rule. Shaolin and his group, as well as Grimijo, all of them evolved from Gillian to Adiukas, thanks to the constant devouring. The same goes for Xylo, who became a Vasto Lorde through the same known path. But here, we see an incredible difference. Ulquiorra from the very beginning never needed to go through this cycle. He didn't have to devour others to prove his existence or to guarantee his evolution. He was simply born as a complete Vasto Lorde, and this alone breaks everything we thought we knew about Hollow evolution, as I said, guys. What's even stranger is that Ulquiorra never engaged in the devouring process that Shaolin described as essential and necessary to avoid regression. Shaolin insisted that without constant feeding, a Hollow's evolution would stop, and they might even fall back to a lower stage. But in Ulquiorra's case, none of this happened. His existence was stable from the very moment of his birth. And this raises a new question. Was Shaolin wrong, or did his words reflect only a partial understanding of Hollow evolution? Because if devouring alone were enough, then any Hollow who consumed enough of his kind would eventually become a Vasto Lorde. But reality showed us that devouring is not the only factor. There must be something else, something hidden, maybe genetic or tied to the very essence of the soul, that decides from the start whether a Hollow can become a Vasto Lord or not. Interestingly, guys, Shaolin himself hinted at this in his last conversation with Grimmage. He left a subtle remark that quantity isn't everything, that there is something beyond simply consuming souls. When we place this line next to Ulquiorra's story, it suggests that some Hollows are born exceptional from the very beginning, like rare exceptions in a brutal rule. Another detail that shouldn't be ignored is that Ulquiorra was not alone in the Dark Pit. It was said he was born there with other Hollows, but what stands out is that they were not like him at all. While they shared his general shape, the difference was massive. They were all pitch black, with a ravenous mouth that did nothing but devour. While Ulquiorra was completely different. His face was without a mouth, his body shining pure white, and his features close to human. All these details aren't superficial. It opens the door to deep questions. For a long time, I've believed that Wikomundo is much larger than what we have seen, with unexplored areas, including the mysterious pit where Ulquiorra and those black hollows appeared. We don't know how birth works there, or if we can even call it birth in the human sense. But it's possible that pit is a remnant of the original world before it split into three: Soul Society, the human world, and Wikomundo. So this theory of mine, guys, connects with what was mentioned in Canfiri on World, where it was said that Hollows already existed in the original world as part of the cycle of Rishi that made up everything. From this, we can assume that the pit Ulquiorra came from might have been nothing more than a leftover fragment of that original world, a place where the first Hollows were naturally born, before the world split and the new cycle was created, where humans turned into Hollows after death through Mask and Devouring. Even if this remains just a theory, guys, one thing is certain: Ulquiorra was not like other Hollows who evolved step by step. He was born as a pure, complete Hollow from the beginning, and there is a lot of evidence for that. He never understood emotions or the heart, which for Hollows is usually symbolized by the mask that hides their faces. More importantly, Ulquiorra, whether in his first or second resurrection, never appeared wearing a mask at all. And since the mask is the foundation of the Hollow life cycle, its absence is proof that Ulquiorra never went through that cycle in the first place. He didn't need it. He was born already as a complete Vasto Lorde, not as an evolved one. And this is actually, guys, where the whole picture comes together. Ulquiorra wasn't just another Espada under Aizen. He was a unique case in the very nature of Hollows themselves. His birth in a dark pit among black Hollows, and his lack of need for devouring cycle, and the absence of a mask in his resurrection. All of this point to him being a part of an original generation of Hollows that didn't follow the new rules of evolution. And because if the life of a Hollow is normally a journey of devouring to reach strength, then Ulquiorra's life was the exact opposite. He was born strong from the very start, but all that strength never gave him the one thing he sought until his very end: the heart, meaning the human elements he never knew. That's why Ulquiorra's death, guys, as he questions the meaning of heart, was not just a personal ending, it was the conclusion of an entire philosophy. It showed that even the strongest of Hollows can born without meaning, and spend their whole existence searching for it. That's why I really want to see if there are any other Hollows like Ulquiorra. Unfortunately, Ulquiorra killed all those Hollows who were with him, and actually they were born like him. So probably we'll never see that, since Kobo already now moving to other topics. But I want to hear, guys, your opinions about this subject. Tell me, guys, your opinions in the comments, and see you in my next video.